Pete, Jeff, you guys want me to go ahead and take over?
Sure, if it's okay with folks, we'll just do it from here. I think Jeff, you may have some slides to flash up there. I'm afraid that was a pretty tough act to follow there, Carlos. We're not going to do anything nearly as exciting as that.
We're just talking legacy waste cleanup.
Mr. Chairman, what we thought we'd do during this portion of the program is to take a step back and look at some of the successes and progress that we made in the legacy cleanup program during 2012. And then to start looking forward. And by that I mean, last January, the CAB was kind enough to host a special meeting where we, as Lawrence mentioned, we acknowledged we would not be able to make the 2015 consent order cleanup date. But we did unveil the framework agreement, which is a shared commitment between the Department of Energy and the New Mexico Environment Department on how to proceed on our prioritized risk-based approach to the legacy cleanup. And in addition, as part of that framework agreement, there was a provision that annually the Department of Energy would meet with NNMCAB and we would discuss priorities for the upcoming federal fiscal year. And the last time the CAB met, I was unable to really share much at that point because of the budget uncertainties, the fact that we simply had not sat down with had the opportunity to sit down with the Environment Department to discuss those priorities. So those meetings have occurred, and we'll be able to share the fiscal year 2013 scope. And then finally, the framework agreement also requires that by December of this year, the Department of Energy submit a work plan to the New Mexico Environment Department that shares our proposed approach to addressing the below-ground true waste, which is up at Area G, TA 54. That work plan is still having the final touches put on it, and we will be delivering that later this month. But we thought this would be an excellent opportunity to share that vision with the CAB and with the public, and then to be available for any observations.
That and break that really into the first 6 months of what we're working under continuing resolution today, and then talk about really two alternatives based upon funding for the second 6 months. Following that, I've got Dan Cox here. Dan is my deputy, and you've heard from him several times talking about transuranic waste. But Dan's going to present really the next step forward on a piece of the framework agreement that we've come up with, basically a plan that we're submitting to NED, detailing out how we're going to go forward on below-grade transuranic waste in Area G. So, go ahead. Without further ado, we had a great year last year. It was only last January that we really penciled and finished out the framework agreement and started moving forward on that. Last year we did meet our commitments, and there were some other pretty significant things that happened during the year. First of all, we really had to kind of realign the project from our environmental corrective actions to focus on the transuranic waste, and that was aligned with the budget, but was also looking at really the people and the resources that were working on the project to be able to get those people kind of oriented to the waste work that we had to do. We did meet our regulatory commitments, all of our regulatory commitments last year. We ended up setting a new shipment record for the work that we were doing. We met our volume objective, and I'll show you that in just a minute. And we maintained, I think, really good relationships with our customer, DOE Lasso, with NNMCAB, David Martin, and Jim Davis, and people, and really tried to work together to set the priorities and the scope in the work that we were doing. In the middle of the summer, this is a picture of the governor at our 1,000 shipment celebration that we held at our shipping facility, and we all kind of waved the 1,000 shipment out the door. But I think probably one of the biggest things, and I haven't been here a long time, but with the momentum that was established on the NNMCAB cleanup, we basically rolled with that momentum into the Transatlantic Waste disposition work that we're doing today, and really making real, basically wheels on the road type of progress in that work. Lastly, I'd like to mention on this that we did our work safely. When I talked to you last time, we had one OSHA recordable accident in the year. Since I talked to you, we had one additional accident, and so that's two injuries this year that were recordable under the OSHA regulations. There was a question asked at when I presented last time about what that injury was. Injury was injury to the shoulder associated with moving a drum. And then our last injury was basically somebody misstepped on a step coming downstairs, probably didn't have their hand on the handrail, and then ended up hurting their foot. So those are the last two injuries. We've really strengthened our safety thing. We've got a lot of work to do in this area in the next year and a half, and to keep performing day to day, we have to make sure our people are able to do that work safe, and as the management and leadership team, that we provide a safe environment for that work to be done. Also to note, I thought it was interesting because there were a few questions asked on that, on radiological exposure. So we've done better this year in applying our ALARA practices. We're about 33% under the goal that we set at the beginning of the year. We look to finish out about that way, but that's really less dose to all of our workers that are out in the field. And we've really also had kind of the employees step up to safety. We've got employee work teams on the projects today, active involvement in the work that they're doing. We get a lot of recommendations and improvements for safety coming out of the people doing work, and that's how we're able to do as well as we're doing in terms of safety laws. Let me just talk about this one a little bit more on the. So last year under the consent order, we submitted a total of 260 documents to NNMCAB. That's close to one per working day of the year. 73 of those were major documents. Some of the things that were submitted last year included the corrective measures evaluation report for MDAC, additional work plans and sampling plans, investigation and remediation reports, and then monitoring reports on surface water and groundwater, as well as well completion reports. So a lot of information goes back and forth. In terms of the individual permit, we had 175 stormwater controls that were installed last year. We had 11 reports and certifications documents that went to EPA, and so we made pretty good progress against our requirements in the individual permit. Economic development for town site in Los Alamos. Just recently, we began taking down the final enclosures at TA21. We expect to continue that work. And on the Buckman project, we installed the third system for basically flow detection or flow verification with the telemetry system that was installed in our Buckman diversion station or monitoring station, and that's now active and providing data to the water company. These are a few of the statistics from the Transatlantic Waste work. We talked about we had 280 days of work that were accident-free. So that, like I went back to safety, that was quite an accomplishment to do our work and to do it safely. 920 cubic meters out the door. That was against the goal that was in the framework agreement of 800 cubic meters in the fiscal year. Probably at least as importantly, and it probably gets less emphasis, but we had a goal last year of 22,500 PE curies to remove off the top of the meso associated with the legacy waste. We exceeded that slightly, but that brought that down by about a third with the work that was done. So that was, not only did we get the volume out, we also got quite a bit of the activity that was associated with the remaining inventory there. We ended up shipping 230 shipments. I think the year before we had shipped 171 shipments, so we, as my little thing there says, we basically shattered that record. We got near completion on our 375 and 231 box lines. Those are the facilities that will provide the remediation capability for our transuranic waste boxes that we have to basically open, unpackage, take out prohibited items, do the waste inspection on, and repackage together with. As of kind of an update as of today or within the last